Hey guys, my name is Sunny. This is a quick tutorial on the dungeon Bloodshade Harbor Command Center. We'll go through both of the widows on the first boss, and we will go through second boss and finally end the video with the path to navigate to both of these bosses if you're walking into this dungeon for the first time. Before we get started, keep in mind that all the information I'll be providing are personal observation. If you spotted anything wrong or you have any more suggestions you'd like to add, please comment it and I'll happy to take a look at it. I also included a timestamp in the description below for you to navigate better. So coming into the first boss, we got Cobalt Widow and Scarlet Widow. Both of these bosses have very simple mechanic. It's basically a alternation between melee stance and range stance. For example, Cobalt Widow start the fight in range stance, and then she will change to melee stance at 70% and back to range at 30%. Scarlet Widow does the same, but it's the opposite pattern. She start with melee and then change to range, then back to melee. Here we got their insert attack. When Scarlet Widow says "I'll burn you alive," she would do a 2-second delayed red AoE following with 4 kicks. Cobalt Widow does the same insert attack, but it's a 5-second delayed red AoE instead of 2. Cobalt Widow also do another insert attack where she says "caught you off guard." I personally have no idea what she does here because I don't usually tank the boss, and if you have any information about this, feel free to leave a comment. When both of these bosses are in melee stance, they do a unannounced insert attack, which is a dash into a 180-degree pizza. I don't recommend KDing the bosses unless you're reaching for a grab, because the bosses recover with a extra attack that you have to deal with. However, a stun or a daze is fine. Usually I show the boss's attack pattern before a full fight, but since we got 2 bosses here and 2 different attack patterns, it would make the video very long, and I think it's much more convenient if I just show 2 clips of me fighting the 2 different bosses. In this fight, I will stay on Scarlet the whole time. She starts the fight being in melee stance, and her first attack is a fast frontal AoE, dashes and then hit the tank once with a counter following, and then does 2 slow frontal AoE. And back to the fast frontal AoE, dash, hit the tank once. Now here's the insert 1080 pizza. Back to the 2 slow frontal AoE, a fast frontal AoE, dashes, hit the tank once, and then counter incoming. That's a counter. 2 slow frontal AoE. Here she would daze the second one, so it's back to the fast frontal. Here we reach the 70% mark, and she changes stance with a yellow AoE around her. In her range stance, she starts off with 2 fireballs. Here she decided to do her insert attack, which is a 2-second delayed red AoE with 4 kicks. The first fireball here is a range check, and the range check also caused the boss to reset its attack rotation, so we're back to 2 fireballs, a yellow frontal, 2-second delayed red AoE, and then a yellow frontal, back to 2 fireballs, yellow frontal, and then the 2-second delayed red AoE, yellow frontal again, and to the beginning 2 fireballs. Here we KD'd, which is not good. Back to the yellow frontal, 2-second delay red AoE, yellow frontal, and then fireball, 2 of them. Here she changed stance because we reached the 30% mark. Fast frontal AoE, dashes, hit the tank once, and then with a counter, 2 slow frontal AoE, fast frontal AoE, dash, hit the tank once, counter, 2 slow AoE, dash, oh that's the insert. We daze the frontal AoE. That's the counter, I think. Yeah, that's the 2 frontal AoE coming, and it's dead. Now we are fighting Cobalt. She starts with range stance, starting with 2 frontal. Five-second delayed red AoE. A ice tornado. Two for snowball or fast hit. She decided to do 2 snowball here. Back to the 2 frontal. 5-second delayed red AoE. Ice tornado. And this is the 2 snowball, yep. And she changes stance here because we got her to 70%. In her melee stance, she starts with 180 pizza plus a stomp. That's the second pizza. A yellow AoE around her. Kicks. And a 1080 pizza or a yellow spin. Is back to the 1080 plus a stomp. That's the insert 1080. Here our tank died and she moved on to another one and the attack rotation reset it. That's the stomp, and then the second pizza. The yellow AoE around her. Kicks. Attack rotation reset it again because the tank was too far. This is the second pizza. Yellow AoE. Kicks. That's the 1080 spin, the 1080 pizza. This is back to the beginning of the rotation. This is the second pizza. AoE. Here she does her insert attack, which is a 5-second delay red AoE, following with 4 kicks. Here he ended his insert attack with another unannounced insert 180 pizza. Now back to the beginning of the rotation, that's the Storm. Coming with a 1080 pizza. Yellow AoE around her. Here she changed stance with 30%. 2 frontal hit. 5-second delayed red AoE. A ice tornado. And fast hit. It's a 2 frontal AoE finished. 5-second delayed red AoE. Ice tornado. 2 snowballs. KD'd, which is, KD'd into a grab, that's pretty good. And voila, she's dead. There is one important information about the boss, which is when one of the widows get killed, it will take her around 50 seconds to recover. So ideally you want to kill them within the 50-second range. In terms of the tactics on how to fight these 2 bosses, here we got Scarlet and Cobalt. The party that I usually run with assign 1 or 2 players onto Scarlet, and then the rest of the party goes on Cobalt. The bigger group will DPS the Cobalt to around, let's say, 10%, and then they will move back to Scarlet beside the tank and DPS Scarlet down to 15 or 10% as well, and then at that point just DPS both of them, kill them both, and it's a clear. Or if your team does a lot of AoE damage, it's also efficient to stack them both together and DPS them down all together. If you're watching up to this point, a subscribe will be very much appreciated. All the videos I make are very time consuming and I hope you guys really enjoy them. Now moving on to our beloved grandpa Hae Mujin. he phases at 80%, 50% and 20%. Be aware that it's normal to lose out on a lot of DPS at the first half of the fight, because he does move a lot, but as the fight goes on, his attack pattern become much more simpler and you'll be able to catch up on the damage that you're missing out on. To begin with, he does his normal attack rotation, yellow AoE or 4 dashes. Here he chose to do 4 dashes, a jump red AoE. If the tank didn't dodge this red AoE, he'll get grabbed and get tossed out. A CC can help him out at this situation. And here back to the main fight, 180 pizza, yellow AoE which can be CC'd, hit the tank once and then stomp on the tank which can also be CC'd. Back to the yellow AoE of 4 dashes, here he still chose to do 4 dashes, jump red AoE, 180 pizza, the yellow AoE which we CC'd, hit the tank once, stomp on the tank. Here he interface at 80% with a red AoE. He also summons a clone which ideally has to get taken care of by a ranged character. The way the clone works is it dashes to the furthest player on the field, and the driver of this clone must do its best not to collide the clone with the main boss, otherwise they will perform some heavy punishment that can sabotage your team very quickly. My recommendation on how to drive the clone is, for example, this is where Hae Mujin is at, and then this is where the clone spawns. The driver has to stand on either of these 2 corners. The clone will dash over here and then you simply just drive it across the arena like this. And be aware of where the boss is located, because the boss is bound to move like all over the place because of its attack rotation. Also remember, if you try to drive the clone across the boss, that's not gonna work. As long as it intersects, as long as it touches the ring around Hae Mujin, the clone will stop and start doing punishment. Back to the main fight, he's at his hit tank attack, storm tank, and then here he decided to do the yellow AoE instead of 4 dashes, jump red AoE, and then the 1080 pizza. Here the driver failed to drive the clone correctly, and you can see that Dozy got kicked by the clone and instantly he lost more than half of his HP. Back to the yellow AoE. Oh, hit the intercept again. I believe one of the guy iframed, so it's fine. But yeah, you can see Yachiru got hit by the punishment as well. Before we get into 50% phase, it's important to know that in 80% phase, if you don't push 50% fast enough, Hae Mujin will start dashing himself as well. However, it's not driven by the furthest player, it is driven by the tank. What the tank needs to do is simply drive it into the wall as much as possible so the party can DPS it and push for 50% as soon as possible. Here we're back at 50%, he did his red AoE as entry, now he's doing the ×3 red AoE puddles. This is the first one landed, second one, third one, and he does a attack from the attack rotation. However, sometimes it's buggy and it doesn't happen. Here he straight up went into the red AoE again and into the ×3 puddles. And then here he finally decided to do attack, which is the kicks, and this attack rotation carries on to the next one, meaning that the next attack he would perform after the 3 red AoE puddles is the jump into red AoE. Here we straight up entered 20%. And as you can see, his attack doesn't do much in 20% anymore. It's just the red AoE around him, and then times 3 red AoE puddles, which is a great chance for you to catch up on any damage that you missed out on. And voila, he's dead. You can jump at the edge of the staircase to reset the odds here. Jump over the odds like this if you don't want to clear them. Here we have a sin to kill the ad at the end of the bridge. However, you can do it with any class. I'll show a link in the description below on how to do it with other classes. If your Sin has the group TP skill book, it's convenient to use it here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time.